House of Stone, A Memoir of Home, Family, and a Lost Middle East is a 2012 publication by American Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Anthony Shadid. The book documents Shadid's endeavor to reconstruct the family home in Lebanon that his ancestors had forsaken when they relocated to the United States. Embedded within this personal narrative, Shadid interweaves his family's heritage spanning Ottoman-era Lebanon and the American context. Additionally, he portrays the modern decay of Marjayoun, his family's hometown. This poignant work was posthumously published after Shadid tragically lost his life while reporting on the Syrian conflict for the New York Times. The book garnered acclaim, earning finalist nominations for both the National Book Award and the National Book Critics Circle Award in 2012. The narrative commences in 2006 as Shadid finds himself in Lebanon, covering an 18-day war for the Washington Post. Fatigue prevails as he navigates his 15th year as a war correspondent, having previously endured an Israeli sniper's gunshot 5 years prior. His marriage frays under the weight of the perilous profession he has chosen. Departing Beirut, he heads to Marjayoun, a predominantly Christian Lebanese town that his family, the Shadids and the Samaras, had left for Oklahoma in the early 20th century. Resting on the Israeli border, the once prosperous Ottoman town has endured a century of strife and now seems to be teetering on the brink of demise. Within Marjayoun, Shadid locates the remarkable stone house constructed by his affluent great-grandfather, Isber Samara. Returning months later, he finds that an Israeli rocket has inflicted significant damage to the upper floor of Isber Samara's dwelling. Visualizing his grandmother, a young girl, picking olives from the trees surrounding the house, Shadid is moved to action. He decides to procure an olive tree and plant it there, symbolizing that the house, regardless of its state, remains a domicile deserving of nurturing. In 2007, a year later, Shadid temporarily departs from the Washington Post and relocates to Marjayoun to immerse himself in the town's history and his familial legacy. Set against the backdrop of an impending civil war in Lebanon, Shadid's determination to reconstruct the family home is met with cautious counsel from local acquaintances. Despite the discouragement, he remains resolute in his mission. He envisions a day when he can bring his daughter, Layla, to this place, enabling her to experience her heritage firsthand. In explaining the endeavor to Layla over phone calls, he recognizes that this seemingly distant undertaking serves as a means of reconciling his previous absences. However, the project swiftly confronts challenges. Shadid grapples with the divergence between the fluid Lebanese approach to scheduling work and the more structured American approach. Local merchants perceive him as an easy target, while townspeople oscillate between deeming him eccentric or suspecting him of espionage. Amidst these hurdles, Shadid forges relationships with his new neighbors. From Sherbil, an individual who indulges in smoking pot and is middle-aged, Shadid gains insight into the complex love-hate dynamic that locals share with their town. Marjayoun's gradual decline becomes evident, as people gradually depart in pursuit of better economic prospects and escape from the relentless conflict. Shadid's interactions also extend to Hikmat, a local counselor with aspirations to resurrect Marjayoun's former glory. Another connection forms with Dr. Kairala, once a hospital administrator who felt betrayed by the community's lack of support when faced with allegations of conspiring with the Israelis. Despite battling cancer, Dr. Kairala dedicates his time to crafting musical instruments, imparting to Shadid a craftsman's perspective on his undertaking. Furthermore, a distant cousin named Karim emerges, treating Shadid with the familiarity of a family member, including wielding guilt trips. Interwoven into the narrative of Shadid's residency in Marjayoun is the history of the house itself and its constructor, Isber Samara. A prosperous merchant, Isber thrived in the Ottoman Empire's borderless domain, where the cultures and ethnicities of the Middle East coexisted, engaging in free trade while accommodating their differences. Isber's remarkable residence, a symbol of his family's newfound status, reached completion just as the Ottoman Empire crumbled with the advent of World War I. The aftermath of the war witnessed the division of Middle Eastern territories by British and French authorities, igniting conflicts across the region. Recognizing the bleak prospects for Marjayoun, Isber made the decision to dispatch his offspring to America. Shadid culminates his family's narrative by tracing the serendipitous encounter of his grandparents in Oklahoma. Subsequent to the conclusion of World War I, Marjayoun's population plummeted from 3,752 to fewer than 800 residents. This decline evokes profound sorrow and frustration among those who remain. However, when Shadid publishes an article dubbing the town as dying, he inadvertently incites the fury of his neighbors. Gradually, the undertaking of erecting the house gains traction. Shadid undertakes the arduous task of clearing out a cesspool manually, successfully engages skilled contractors, and, more or less, accomplishes the construction before his leave of absence concludes. He adeptly restores the interior according to his great-grandfather's original blueprints. As he traverses the completed dwelling, a profound sense of bait envelopes Shadid, an Arabic term signifying both house and home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.